All right, everybody, good morning. How are you? Yes, we are back with some more funeral service information for you this morning. And this morning, I have with me Mr. Vincent Furgeson, who is our local life insurance and final expense insurance agent. So, of course, we want to talk about. We offer, of course, different products. With the funeral home, I can only offer pre-need, okay, pre-need funeral service expenses. So for me, it's just the funeral service expense. I offer nothing else, okay? I can't sell you anything else beyond the funeral service itself. But of course, we have with us Mr. Ferguson, who can offer you a lot more than what I can. So I'm going to ask you, Mr. Vincent, first, good morning.
Hey, good morning. Good morning.
And now, when we talk about, let's go with final expense first. Okay. What is final expense insurance?
Yeah, well, final expense insurance is insurance that having a small plan to make sure that your funeral is taken care of. You know, a lot of people want to get a big life insurance policy to cover everything, but a lot of times when death occurs, those policies don't pay out quickly, and we want to put the money in the pockets of grieving families' hands quickly so funeral homes can get paid. And a lot of times when those companies don't pay out within like sometime several weeks or a month or so, you know that loved one funeral has to get paid for. So having a final expense plan, like what we offer, it helps. It immediately goes to help pay for a family's funeral at the time of death. Like our plans can pay within 24 hours of claim approval.
Okay.
So it's good to have a small plan just for your funeral expenses,
Mm-hmm.
then maybe get an additional policy for any other kind of legacies or any kind of expense you want to have.
Okay, now talk to us. Like, I know with selling pre-need insurance, I can't do anything above the face amount of the funeral, which basically means that if they have a $6,000 funeral, my policy is $6,000. With final expense insurance, can they pick a I guess an amount that's more than that?
Yes, we can do an amount. Yes, a lot more than
A
that.
lot more than
A lot more than
okay.
that. Well, one of the things that we do, we can go up to like $35,000. With the company that I represent, and if we want more, I can do more. Also. But we want to just tailor around paying for like a funeral,
Mm-hmm.
and not really like leaving a legacy behind. That's what life insurance is for.
Okay.
Having a final expense plan is what the burial is for. So yes, we tailor to fit your needs and your budget, and we want to make sure that funeral is taken care of.
All right. Now, help us with this part. A lot of people get confused on this.
Okay.
The beneficiary of the final expense policy is who?
It could be whoever they want.
Okay.
It could be whoever they want to have.
Thank you. I wanted to make sure that's clear because the beneficiary to my policy is the funeral home. It's not your family. And it's not whomever you want. Like I said, we have two different types. So that's why we are here. This is very important. Like I said, with pre-need insurance, the beneficiary to mine is, of course, the business. That's who's going to. Both policies incur interest. Am I right?
That's correct.
Okay.
Yep.
Where my interest is there to absorb anything that might change, like prices for caskets and things like that may change over time. Usually goes up, like all things do with inflation.
Yeah.
So that interest is there to make sure that that you're actually covered, and then I can give you the balance. Whereas your interest would go where?
Goes right into the policy. It builds
Right.
cash value, and that stays right with the family.
Yes. So that's the difference. That's what we want to talk about that. Now let's talk about life insurance. The difference between a life insurance policy and a final expense insurance policy.
Okay. Yeah, a life insurance policy again, it's basically the same thing, but we want to tailor a final expense plan. Again, that's just a small policy to take care of your funeral. And like again, those pay. With our company, it pays out quickly. Uh, um, Again, within 24 hours of a claim approval, and we also have free funeral planning that comes along with it also. So that makes your job easier as
Yes.
funeral, because I know if you sit around with families and nobody don't know what to do, or the
Right.
person who want to be in charge of everything don't have any money,
Mhm.
but want to make all the decisions about everything.
See, I didn't say it.
Oh,
You did.
yeah, I did.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so we have the free funeral planning too. So again, the life insurance is really if you want to leave a legacy behind for like paying off the house or car, or
Mhm.
sending the children off to school, or
Mhm.
something like that. If you want to leave a real legacy behind,
Right.
but a final expense plan is just a burial plan to make sure your funeral is taken care of, because
Okay.
that's the first bill that has to get paid.
Correct. That
Yeah.
is correct. Now, with this part, let's talk about. Now we know with funeral home, it's just for the funeral bill, right? So far
hmm
as pre-need is concerned.
hmm
With final expense insurance, that is everything, right? So yours can actually include maybe possibility of the cemetery as well, the
hmm
price for the cemetery. My pre-need is not going to include that. We do kind of sometimes, you hate to say it, but it almost catches people off guard about cemetery expenses.
hmm
Now, I'm probably gonna have to get somebody on here that does cemetery as well, because you can get a policy for that as well.
hmm
But when we talk about it, final expenses covers pretty much everything,
Right.
right?
hmm
Whereas a funeral policy would only cover the funeral itself. We're talking about what I sell. Cemetery policy would only cover the cemetery expenses, and that's what they sell. And then it varies sometimes with when the person is actually buried, right?
That's correct. hmm
We talk about that. So I'm not shooting myself in the foot, but I believe that because of final expense insurance is a little bit more open,
hmm
you get more options there.
Right.
Right. Yeah. That's what I thought. I'm just putting that out there. Like
Right.
I said, not shooting myself in the foot, but just thinking about it. Even with the life insurance, I think is it safe to say that it's better to have both instead of just one?
For us, the life insurance and the final assistance plan.
Yes.
Yes, and whether if it fits your, people's needs and budget.
Mm-hmm.
But at first, the first thing you need to have a final expense plan.
Mm-hmm.
That's number one. Because again, a lot of times we've had clients that had a big life insurance policy, and I say big, let's say $25,000, $30,000 or $40,000,
Mm-hmm.
and those companies take a while to pay out.
Right.
And many times we've seen families, go to the funeral home, and the funeral home want their money now.
Right.
Because it's a business, and the family would have to come up with money for the burial and let that life insurance policy reimburse them.
Yes.
And so we want to eliminate that from a family, as to where having that final expense plan, make sure that money is there at the time of death to pay the funeral home. And then we want to be able to have, if there's any other kind of legacy they want to leave behind,
Mm-hmm.
to have another policy if it fits their budget to do those other things. We can provide all those as well.
Okay.
As far as the cemetery, we have a lot of data,
Mm-hmm.
Brooke, that we can actually calculate the approximate cost of the funeral and cemetery costs.
Mm-hmm.
And so we can tailor a plan to fit somebody's needs and budget to take care of everything. But the beauty about our plan is that we were talking about beneficiaries, right?
Right.
Like when my father died, several years ago. He had a final expense plan with me,
Mm-hmm.
and my mother was the beneficiary.
Right.
Now she could have taken that money and do anything she wanted to do with it, because that's her money.
Right. Exactly.
That's her money. But we made sure that part, went to the payment of,
Mm-hmm.
of the funeral. So
Yes.
it's a little bit different. We're talking about with Preneed. The beneficiary
Right.
is, they can do whatever they want to do with that plan.
Yeah. And I think that's the part that scares some people, because if you have an irresponsible family member that you leave as the beneficiary to your policy, then that it's possible that the funeral service or the cemetery is not going to get paid, because they're going to pocket the money and keep going. So I think that
I've had a couple like that.
Yeah, the benefit of both and being able to weigh options. Remember, my thing, like I said, is always to inform so that you can make an informed decision. I never want you to be out here just going, saying, well, it is what it is. Don't ever feel like that. Nothing is what it is, unless it just comes down to the wire. But making an informed decision does include being able to say, okay, what's going to be best for me and my family. Do I want the final expense insurance, or do I want all three? It is not against the rules to get all three.
Right.
You can do the final expense insurance. You can do the pre-need insurance. You can do the cemetery separately if you want to, or even if you decide to put aside cash. Okay, some of us still believe in our mason jars in the backyard. That is not impossible. Put your money up, but we're doing it because we know that this side of life is inevitable. No matter what we do, we are going, this part is going to happen. I've only met one person in my entire life that believed that she was going to live long enough for Jesus to rapture her. And I believe, and I promise you, I really believe in my heart of hearts, because of her faith and how convicted she was when she said it. That lady is probably still living. She may be 100 years old now, but I believe in my heart that she is still alive.
Maybe she knows something we don't know.
Right, exactly. But she said that was her conviction. You know, she believed it. But for this part, I think that, some of us, or most of us, don't believe that. We believe that, at some point we're going to be at rest and be at peace. And we want to make sure that our families are at peace when we do that. Having these insurance policies does cut down a lot. Like you said, your families that don't have the money, it is a lot more peaceful in planning. The other thing I think that you mentioned in talking is being able to, that pamphlet that you guys give for them to fill out. Even if your funeral director does not get that pamphlet, if you fill it out and just have it in the drawer at home, it does help, because it gives your family an idea of what you want, instead of them having to come to the funeral home and spend an extra 2 hours because they can't make up their minds. I have said it before, when funerals are planned, and especially with at need, and there's no plan before then, there are over 100 questions, over 125 questions that your family will answer right then and there. Some of us can't think through 125 questions when it's calm.
That's right.
The last thing you want to do is have to try to answer them, and you can't think, you're emotional, you don't know where so-and-so put whatever you need. Social security cards are put up. Well, mothers hide them, right? I know where the social security card is, but my daughter won't know until she's old enough to know where it is and put it back. You know what I mean?
That's right.
So those things happen, right? But we want to be equipped. Now, in this, when we talk about our insurances, right, and talk about different insurances, what's the main thing that people need to know?
There are different types of life insurance policies that are out there, but the biggest thing that I see, Brooke, is that people think it's a bill.
Okay, yeah.
It's just another bill. Well, I look at it differently. A bill is really what we have. It's an investment. And a lot of people, when they hear that word investment, depending on what different communities that we go and service, they think about that's something rich people do, or it's stock market things, and it's a word that kind of shuns you away from what it is, because they may not have a lot of money or disposable income to do things with. Well, it's an investment, really, what we have. Now, the difference between the two, just kind of sum it up in my mind, is this: that we know, like you said, all of us going to die one day. So we need to have some money to take care of our funeral expenses.
Right.
This is the difference between a bill and an investment.
Yes.
If you don't pay your light bill, they're gonna shut your lights off, but you can still manage a little bit, right?
Exactly.
You don't pay your car note, they may come get your car.
Yes.
Don't pay your house note, that's a bill, right?
Yes, that's it.
Okay, well, all of us gonna die. So that's when you put money into a policy, that's an investment that you may put a little bit in to get a lot out on the other end.
Right. Okay.
So if we know this is, we are going to die, it's good to put the money, a small amount of money up front, to get a big return at the end.
Yes.
And then we do what we can to make sure that there's some money left over, a little bit, some money left over we can for those families. So it really is an investment, because we all know we're going to die.
Yes.
And so it's an investment and not a bill.
Right.
It really is. And we find time and find things for, Uh, this past weekend, after
Ooh, Black Friday,
uh,
Cyber Monday,
Giving Tuesday.
yeah, yes,
Who know what's
yes,
going on? Yeah.
yeah.
Didn't see any problem with people going out
Mhm.
and spending money on things, some of it unnecessary things, okay?
Yeah, right.
But this is a necessary thing that everybody needs. But I would just recommend to everybody that if you already have a life insurance policy, and that if an agent comes to your house and try to get you to give up what you have to
Mhm.
get what they have, think twice about doing business with them, because there's some things that may or may not be to your advantage of that. It may be to the agent's advantage. It makes it hard for me to do what I do sometimes because, depending on who you may be talking to.
Mhm.
But if anybody had any questions about, understanding their policy or reading their policy or how it all works, I'll be glad. I do that for the community. I do it free of charge to see what people have
Absolutely.
and make sure that their family's protected.
Yes. And that's the biggest thing, is making sure that the family is protected. Like I said, when I come on here, I do this because I want you guys to be informed. It is not to sell you anything. Obviously, we both sell insurance, but this particular taping is not to actually sell you anything. It is not that. We want you to be informed so that you can make an informed decision about what you need to do for you. As he said, we all are going to face this final expense. It just depends on how we face it. You want to make the investment so that you have that there. Your family is protected. You aren't throwing away anything, and then your family doesn't feel like it's a bill at the end of everything. Right? It's not something that just has to be paid, or we got to do this, and they don't have to make any adjustments. So many families make adjustments or say, well, I guess we're going to have to cremate because we don't have X, Y, and Z. Cremation is growing in popularity because it's a little bit cheaper than a traditional funeral, but it's also growing in popularity because people feel like that's the only option. Well, here we are offering options. I know. The investment into basically your family's future, because that's what it is. It's your family's future. How much do you love your family? Are you willing to give them security once you leave? So with that, of course, always want to make sure that you guys make informed decisions. I'm going to thank Mr. Furgeson for being here. I want to send a huge shout out to Delta Sigma Theta and Omega Psi Phi right here.
That's right. That's right. Right here.
Right here.
That's right. Right here.
To our sorors and our frat brothers, and we're always working together, and it's always a beautiful thing. I love you guys, and as always, I'll talk to you later.